Plain Being. Hi, how you doing? And today we're going to be talking about season 5 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Goodness. Obviously, if you've been keeping up, if you've been watching along with me, I watched the season 5 finale about like 2 weeks ago or so. It was a lot. It was a lot. And obviously I do like wrap up / Q&As at the end of every season. So we're going to be going through the Q&As and everything, the questions that my patrons sent in. And yeah, and also I have like a bunch of other stuff. I've been like really into this season, like for the theme and like the whole character arc of Buffy. It's been so interesting to like go back and like revisit past episodes from the season and see where Buffy went on this long journey that she went through during the season. It's been a lot. And also just this season in general, so many episodes just like break my heart. So it's been like a mental feat for myself to like get prepared for this video, because I just know it's gonna be like a long and like in-depth one, because I just have so much I have so many thoughts and feelings about this season, and it's like just a lot. So let's just start off with like what I basically thought of the season, like in general, as all, just, from 22 episodes of a show, what did I think? So I thought it was, I can't, see, I don't know how to like say what I want to say, but this season in itself, I feel like was so fucking well done, and it was like the type of season that I did not think was going to happen, but I'm so glad it did. Like, especially for like this type of show where like there's like an ensemble cast and there's, big baddies, and we're going against a fucking god in this season. Like, that's the big baddie for this season. And then like, there's all this other stuff, but like when you boil it all down to like what the main thing was this season that like drove a lot of the main actions from our main character, it's the main character's discovery of herself. And I think that is so fucking cool. And just Buffy in herself, I think she's such a unique and amazing character. Like, a character where she has two sides. She's a Slayer and she's also a human being, like a girl. And you put her through all of these things and these different situations, and it like progressively starts to get at her and starts to eat at her and like starts to make her question herself and who she is as a person. Where Buffy the Vampire Slayer is gonna have that in the season like, I would never have expected it, and I absolutely fucking love it. Like, again, y'all already know I was a big Supernatural fan. Never in that show did I ever feel like I thought the characters were actually fully understanding or fully trying to understand themselves and their actions and why they act a certain way. Like, it was almost as a joke on Supernatural, like, that they were like, oh my god, why are you doing all this? Why are you starting another apocalypse? Oh my god. Like, it wasn't like a actual like internal battle with themselves and like figuring out why they act a certain way. I feel like they did show it a little bit like off screen, and they're doing it by themselves and we don't get to ever see it, and we get to see like the end product. But for this fucking show, this season, it made me also look at myself, and this show is literally so insane where it has so many things going on where it forces me to look at myself and like my own life, and like it's just, the show just has such an impact on me, and I don't understand how. And I think it also has to do with like me watching this with like hundreds of you, and like we get to talk about it every week, and it just makes me look at myself as well, and I just fucking love the show. So yeah, so in all, like, season 5, can't already tell, I fucking loved it. It's very much a watch it and just see where it goes. And then I literally cannot wait to like rewatch this season and see all of the little things that come together for Buffy, because like season 4, I already said this in like the last video for like season 4 wrap up. It wasn't my absolute favorite. It was a lot of like little episodes that I absolutely adored, surrounded by a lot of plot and stuff that I wasn't very into. So to go from like that, where Buffy started college, is into like, you know, still have the ensemble like of friends and people that are around her supporting her. And then you start season 5, she has a boyfriend, she has a new sister, she started living at home because of her, you know, Joy is having, you know, that little issue, and then she moved back home to help her. And then we still have everyone supporting her and helping her, but she still has like this internal conflict with herself where she feels like she's not capable of love after the whole Riley thing. And it's just chef's kiss. I love it so much. So yeah, that's really like my whole idea of like what this season was about. Obviously I didn't get like specifics, but just in all, it's like I cannot believe this show was able to get to where it went. I don't know, it was just so fucking good. But yeah, so without further ado, I think we should just jump into the questions that my patrons, my very lovely patrons, sent in, and we can go through them. I'm very excited to see what you guys sent in. So let's get into it. So for the first question, Jordan asked, in a season of near constant surprises, which do you feel surprised you the most? If it's how the season ended, what would be the one besides that? Okay, so yeah, there were a lot of surprises. Yeah, so definitely how the season ended. I was not expecting that, but like looking back on it, I'm like, okay, how did I not expect Buffy to die? Like they were really riling that up. So how did I not get that? But maybe I was just very blind and I didn't want to see it. But there are a lot of little things that I was very surprised by. Like, I think also like just the choices of the show, if that makes sense. Like the choice to have an entire episode dedicated to Joyce's death and like the people around them going through grief and things. Like I would never expect that from this show, but looking back on it again, it seems like the perfect decision. And it's also so like cathartic for like the viewers, and also getting to see these characters that we've grown to love, and like like these characters I literally love to death, and having to see them go through all this like emotional, like it's just a lot. It's very sad. But yeah, a couple other things that surprised me. The fact that they had Riley cheat on Buffy, I like, again, it makes sense looking back on it for like the story. Like, you know, have this perfect dude that's like, you know, perfect for Buffy, and like, you know, the perfect guy for Buffy to depend on, and and then having him turn around and betray her in such a like physical and real way to like go to vampires who are the exact opposite of Buffy, the vampire slayer, and also to cheat in, you know, their romantic relationship. Like, it's the betrayal on so many levels. I cannot get over Riley in this season. Listen, I don't know if it's gonna happen in this video, but if I have a Riley rant, y'all already gonna be warned, okay? This is your warning. I literally cannot stand that man after this season, and now I understand why all of you did not like him in season 4. I get it now. But yeah, any other surprises? Dawn, obviously, was not expecting her, ever. Buffy having a sister? Okay, yeah. There were just so many like, oh, okay, yeah. Glory being a god, us going against an actual god? Yeah, okay, cool. Ben being Glory? Yeah, that makes sense, obviously. There are so many like whiplash type moments that this season was like, and again, like so many of them make sense. Like going back, like, oh my god, obviously Ben is fucking Glory. How did I not pick up on that? And just there were so many things that like going back, it's built up in a way that is so perfectly done. Like, have you ever read I've been reading a lot more recently, but have you ever read like a thriller or like a suspense type book, and then you're like going throughout the entire book like, oh my god, I wonder who killed who, or why is this happening, why is there a ghost or whatever, and then at the end you get the reveal. You get like the whole like, oh, these are all my answers. Oh wow. But then like you spend half a second trying to think how that all happened during the events of the book, and you're like, this makes no fucking sense. What? I hate when that happens. So the fact that this show so perfectly was able to interweave like all of these things happening, but to have them all make sense. Oh my god, literally I cannot get over how fucking amazing it is. Oh, goodness. Okay, so a bunch of people asked me, like, the same sort of question. So Sam, Danny, Marie Green, Magali J, and Davion and Elise all asked, like, different variations. Basically informing me as well that, like, the season 5 finale was technically, like, there was a chance that that was going to be the finale for the entire show. So, they're asking me, like, what would my opinion be if this were actually the finale for the entire show? So, not to spoil another show, wink wink, that I watch a lot before Buffy, but I'm no stranger to, like, this type of finale. But for Buffy, I feel like it was done in a way where it felt deserved. Like, obviously, Buffy dying, very sad, very tragic, very, like, you know, obviously I don't want that to happen. But I felt like it was very deserved because the entire season basically was setting it up in a way, and setting up Buffy trying to figure out herself and trying to figure out what her being a Slayer means to herself and also to, like, the world and all that. So for her to sacrifice herself for Dawn, for the world in a way, for Dawn, who is basically her world, as well as the key that she needs to keep safe, and a way, like, the one, like, physical tie that she has to this world, a physical being that is hers to take care of after Joyce died, as well as to take care of because she's the key and she's the Slayer and she was picked by the monks to take care of her. And I just felt like it was very much a showing of what Buffy's true nature is, and I just love Buffy so fucking much. Oh my god, I literally cannot get over her. I adore her. But yeah, so I feel like for the show it ended off very nicely. Like, honestly, I was watching it and I felt like it could be a series finale. Like, we had Xander and Anya, they're getting engaged. We had Willow and Tara, they're getting back together and Tara is all back to normal. And then Spike, poor Spike, he's going through it. But, and then we have Dawn, where Buffy had, like, this whole long monologue for her, which is included in my quote, where Buffy basically tells her how difficult it is to live in this world, but that she is given the chance to do it. And I just fucking love this finale so much. Like, it's one of those ones where, will I be rewatching this for enjoyment purposes? Probably not. But it was so fucking well done that, like, the next time I rewatch it, I'm gonna be so blown away by, like, how perfectly I feel like this season finale is for the season. Like, I don't know how to explain how, like, the last couple seasons, like, mainly like season 2, season 3. I've already told you guys. Season 2 and season 3, I fucking love. I adore these seasons. And it's mainly because, like, the different, like, things happening plot-wise and, like, things that are happening to the main characters. And, like, it's just so fucking fun to see all this happening. Obviously, with, like, Angelus and shit, that wasn't very fun. But it was fun to see how it all laid out and all this. Like, specifically season 3, I feel like is such a, for me at least, I enjoyed it so much because it was so fun to go through all of that. But then with season 5, there are so many plot lines that are so heart-wrenching. And it's like I hate to love it, you know? Like, it's so good that it's painful. Like, I literally can't get over just how perfect this finale was, which is why I'm so curious what the next 2 seasons are going to be about. Because where do you go after your main character seemingly comes to terms with herself, so much so that she sacrifices herself and gives up that opportunity to keep living and gives it to someone else, being Dawn? You know? Like, I'm very curious how they'll continue on with that. And I feel like, I know this is probably, like, another question that people are asking, like, what do you think is going to be the next season? But for the next season, I feel like Buffy is going to be a vampire. Like, I feel it in my gut. It was one of those things in the finale when I was talking about it in my review section. I didn't want to admit it to myself because the thought of Buffy, who fought vampires and fought, like, literally her entire being when she turned into a Slayer at the age of 16, she wanted to just fight every vampire. That is her duty. The thought of her turning into a vampire literally makes me want to cry. Like, I feel, you know, like, I feel so much pain for her. So, her becoming a vampire, I'm very curious how that would affect her. But I feel like because this last season was so well done for Buffy internally going through all this conflict, I think her turning into a vampire would push her to go into a different sort of internal conflict where she goes against, you know, herself, but like her own being a vampire is against her own inner self of being a Slayer, you know? I don't know. There's just a lot happening. And yeah, either way, the finale as a series finale, I think would have been very well done. And honestly, there's no even like cliffhangers or anything, so, or like loose threads that I feel like should have been, you know, kept if it were to be a series finale. So yeah, I would have been very sad, obviously. I think I'm a little more hopeful because I know there are 2 more seasons, and if I did see this and it was like, oh, that's the end, I would have been very, very sad. To be quite frank, because obviously I love these characters. But I would have been very understanding, you know? Like, for another show, wink wink, where something like this happened, I felt so betrayed by the show that they did that because it did not feel deserved. And it was like, yeah, sure, they've been setting it up since season 1, but with that show, that was very different because there were 15 fucking years between the first season and the last season. And I felt like the character did not change in the slightest, you know? And Buffy, she is so different than how she was in season 1 that I felt it was very deserved, and I felt like her character arc was done. In another show, I did not think the character arc was very well done. So yeah, I do believe that is all I have to say about that question. So, moving on. And then Hannah and Grace both asked, what do you think of Giles killing Ben? So, with this, I honestly, I mean, if you watch my reaction, I was fucking pumped up. I was like, yes, Giles, fuck it up, become that Ripper, let's fucking go, you know? But obviously there are repercussions for, like, Giles killing a human, like, obviously Ben is a human, so Giles killing him to kind of, like, it's just what, it's a hard decision. Obviously he's human, but he's connected to a god who potentially in the future could come back and again take Dawn, use her as the key, and then bring the end of all times, basically. So I feel like it was the sort of thing that, like, he had to do because, I mean, you gotta protect the people that are closest to you. Because again, like, if Ben had the opportunity to kill Dawn instead of him dying, I mean, obviously he did try and help Dawn at the end, in the finale, but it's like, if it comes down to it, you're gonna try and save yourself, obviously. So I don't really think it changed how I perceive Giles. I mean, I fucking love Giles. Again, he is my motherfucking man. He is amazing. So that whole thing, I feel like maybe it's not affecting me as much as it should be, but, like, I was just like, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it, Giles. So Michaela asked a really cool question that basically so I've been, like, researching a lot, like, about this sort of thing, but basically her question is what are your thoughts on the theory that Glory and Dawn are symbolically Slayer-Buffy and Buffy-Buffy that Buffy and Riley talked about in episode 3 of the season? Buffy fears being both Glory, the unchecked, merciless killing machine she fears the Slayer is, and Dawn, the weak little girl she feels like she's hiding inside. So with this, I feel is, like, the main catalyst for Buffy figuring out herself. I don't know if this is, like, the right time to, like, fully go into, like, what I've been, like, thinking about, but I basically went through, like, the whole season and figured out, like, what exactly led to Buffy figuring out herself and figuring out, like, her inner self and what being a Slayer is and all this. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna talk about it now instead of, like, creating, like, a whole video by itself. But that question basically leads into, like, I feel like that whole symbolism is so perfectly done for, like, episode 3, like, with the whole Xander being, you know, split into two people, and, like, that whole idea of someone being split into two people, I think was so well done to introduce this idea that everyone could be two people. And then obviously with Buffy, she's very clearly two different people, with, like, the Slayer and then her inner self of, like, being herself. And I don't know, it's just so interesting that they included that. And then of course later on we have Glory and, like, Ben, even, like, Glory and Ben is a, you know, cat normal dude, and Glory is a full-fledged fucking killing machine god. So it's very much like a, how do you deal with that, and how do you deal with this other part of yourself that you don't even fully know, you know? It was very interesting to go into. And so I wanted to kind of look into this, like, psychologically, because I was finished with my class and I was like, you know, I don't have any homework, so I'm gonna make my own. So I went to Barnes & Noble and I was trying to figure out any books in, like, the psychology department that, like, could help me just look into theories and shit. So I, obviously, our man, Carl Jung, which I remember how to say, if you've been there for that, you're a real one. That was quite a long time ago. But, he wrote this near the end of his life. It's called The Undiscovered Self. It's a lot of different, like, essays and things that he wrote near the end of his life about discovering yourself and things like that, and, like, what main obstacles come into play for a person to be at terms completely with themselves as a person. And I don't know, it was very interesting. I definitely recommend if you guys are interested. This was very, very interesting to read. He does talk a lot about religion as well, being a very big factor for this sort of self-discovery. And while reading, it was very, like, at times, mainly in, like, the beginning of his essays, he felt very, like, pessimistic about this sort of idea. And a lot of it is him explaining how discovering yourself is, it's not very feasible. It's an uphill battle that you're never gonna really attain, because there's so many different things that society itself has deemed, like, inappropriate to think about, or parts of yourself that aren't allowed to be talked about but are still there. And in order to fully understand yourself, you're gonna have to take it, like, look at those things, but again, it's not very, like, accepted by society to think about that, you know? So yeah, so basically I'm gonna go through this season's Buffy. And yeah, I'm just gonna talk about what I feel like for her whole arc in this season. So yeah, so I don't know if I kind of wanted to, like, make this more like a video essay type, so I'm probably gonna, like, include a bunch of clips and stuff, but yeah, so if you wanted more like the Q&A style, you feel free to skip ahead past this, but I just really, really wanted to talk about this, so okay, so for the first episode, obviously this was, like, such a big catalyst episode that, again, I was not expecting when I first started watching the episode Dracula v. Buffy. Wasn't expecting a huge, like, intro for this whole plot, but, like, literally I have so many different, like, quotes and things that, like, come back later that are so important for Buffy and for herself to, like, discover herself. So fucking cool. But I mean, season 5, literally the first scene that happens is Buffy leaving Riley's bed and going to hunt. Like, she has almost, like, an insatiable hunger to, like, fight and to, like, go with this Slayer side of wanting to be on the hunt and killing these vampires. And it's also very interesting how almost egotistical in a way, but also, like, she feels like she knows exactly what she is. Like, when Dracula's first talking to Buffy, Buffy goes,
"Do you know what a Slayer is?"
Do you?
And it's very much a sort of check, like, she's putting, like, Dracula's putting herself in check and being like, do you know what that means? Do you know what being a Slayer is? And then Dracula keeps calling Buffy a killer instead of Slayer, and Buffy at that moment is very against that sort of title. She's like, no, I'm not a killer, I'm a Slayer, that's what I am. And I forget when exactly later on, but she does revisit that sort of idea, like, am I a killer? Is, like, again, if I weren't the Slayer, if I was just going on these hunts to fight vampires, I'd be a killer because I'm killing these vampires. The only thing that's really telling me that, like, this is all okay and this is, like, my duty is, like, me being a Slayer, like, that's my title. And then when Buffy says, I'm the good guy, Dracula responds that her power is rooted in darkness. And then later on, he even says,
I have yearned for you. For a creature whose darkness rivals my own.
Like, imagine fucking Dracula, like, the vampire of all vampires, saying that you have a darkness inside of you that rivals his own. Like, that just, like, I'm sure put herself in check and was like, wait, am I, like, do I have this sort of darkness in me? Like, why does he know this information about myself? And then it's also very interesting how later on, when Dracula tries to bite Buffy, he sees that Angel had already bitten her. And again, it's just like this connection with this sort of darkness that she's fighting against. And it's, I mean, I can go on for days about like the Angel and Buffy relationship and how that being in her past is so important for this sort of like push to like understand herself. Like, again, being with a vampire as being the vampire slayer, it's just being connected with this sort of evil and darkness that you're fighting against. And then he says that like he can feel her hunger, and it's just very like the way that he talks. Again, at the time I was like, why is he talking like this, what the fuck? But it makes sense. Like, I can feel your hunger. Obviously at that point we're like, okay buddy, I understand trying to get her into a vampire, why are you doing this? Like, obviously that's what you mean, right? But really it's like her hunger to fight and her hunger to go against these vampires that she is destined to go against. And I thought it was very interesting. I was also looking at like a textbook that I had for like another class in the past. I feel like a lot of it for like this also lends itself to like being included with like altruism, where if you don't know, altruism is like doing something just to do something good and it not being for any other reason. So for Buffy, being truly altruistic would be going against these vampires for no self-gain, for just doing what's good for other people. But there is no real true altruism in this world. Like, one of the main examples, like in a class, like for explaining what altruism is let's say you see a guy on the side of the street, he doesn't have a job, hasn't eaten in a couple days, and you give him $20. That is very altruistic, you would think. But then you go on throughout the rest of your day and you're like, I feel good about myself, I did something good for someone else. That's not very altruistic by definition, because you got something out of that exchange and you feel good about yourself. So altruism in this world, I feel like, is not very attainable, because even if you do something and you don't get anything in return, you're still getting a sense of feeling good about yourself. But with Buffy, there is no altruism with her slaying in this moment, because I feel like every time she slays a vampire or she goes on a hunt, she feels this sort of like exhilarating, like, oh my god, I'm doing this, I'm fighting, I am so awesome, whatever. And it's mainly what I feel like Faith was saying in season 3, where she's like, obviously I'm just doing this for the fun of it, I'm getting something out of this. And at that point, I feel like in season 3, Buffy was very trying to be altruistic, where she was like, no, I'm just doing this because it's my duty, I'm not doing it for any other reason. And it's interesting how over time, by season 5, she's gotten to that point where she is almost the same as where Faith was in season 3. And I think that's just so interesting how Buffy went through all of those stages, or all those steps to get there, and it took so much longer than like Faith did, and she just immediately got there. So moving on from that, then Dracula tells her that we are alone, always alone, kind of grouping both of them together. And it's very interesting how he would say that both of them are alone, even though we saw in the last finale that very clearly Buffy has friends, and that's where she gets all of her like support, and that's why she's so powerful against all of these villains that she's gone against. And it's interesting how he says that, because I feel like it's hinting towards the fact that Buffy has to go on this journey by herself to understand all these things that she should be understanding about herself and like what her being a Slayer is. And we kind of see that later on when she goes to the desert with Giles. Giles says that she has to go by herself, and she's led by the tiger or whatever, and she is able to go on that journey by herself. And then later on, when they're still talking about darkness, Buffy, her first instinct was to say how she can control this darkness, and she can control it enough so that she becomes more powerful. And then Dracula, of course, goes on to say, you think you know what you are, what's to come, you haven't even begun. Which, of course, is from the last finale. So I think that's also very interesting that her first instinct was to control this darkness that Dracula was talking about. And something else that I found very interesting while I was like looking at like my textbooks and stuff. So by trying to understand why you act a certain way, you tend to act in the opposite way. So in my textbook, it was basically explaining how introspection can lead us away from self-knowledge. So there were a couple studies that like asked people what their attitudes were towards something and looking at their actions and behaviors afterwards. So, for example, the more participants said that they enjoyed a task, the more time they would spend on it, the happier they said that they were with their current partner, the longer the relationship would ultimately last. And all this makes sense with you understanding how you feel about something and consciously looking at how you view something and how your feelings are in a certain way. But there's sort of a catch with this, where if you ask the participant to analyze why they feel like this, their attitudes tend to be the opposite afterwards. So for this, basically, the psychologist that was looking at this, Wilson, he basically said that humans are so busy mentally working through all of this information and feeling all these emotions that we often fail to understand those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And it's possible that if you start to think too much and you start to be too analytical with how you're feeling, you get to be confused, and then you don't know what to think and you don't know what to feel. So with all this, I feel like it's very interesting. In the first couple episodes, she makes it a point to try and understand what being a Slayer is, what, you know, her being means to her, and what she can do with, you know, behavior-wise for, you know, being a Slayer, slaying vampires and all that. And interesting, so that episode goes into episode 2, and the first scene in episode 2 is her meditating, trying to further understand herself and what being a Slayer is. And again, I feel by doing all this in the first couple episodes has led her to be so confused. And she's like, I don't know what I am, because I'm trying to understand this. But by doing so, and by trying to analyze the reasoning behind why I want to slay vampires and why I have such hunger for slaying vampires, I feel like I am further confusing myself, because my body and like my mind is already trying to go through all this information. And you see what I'm getting at? It's very, very much a like circle of chaos, basically. So it's a lot of her trying and further being confused, I feel like, in the first couple episodes. And going back to Carl Jung, he believes that we have to understand our shadow. But I find it very interesting that he picked the name Shadow for this, because obviously, as we know, the episode named Shadow, where Buffy's mom, Joyce, is, you know, has a shadow in her brain and yada yada. So I thought that was very, very interesting that it's I don't know if they meant to connect it like that, but here, let me tell you what a shadow is by Carl Jung's definition. The shadow is like something that Jung talked about a lot, and he basically described it as the unknown dark side of personality. So yeah, he describes it as like, he's very like, it's something that's like kind of almost science fiction when you think about it. Like when you're like looking it up and you're like, oh my god, okay, that's what you think about like what's in the personality. But like it's very interesting how he talks about it. But like if you like look it up, it's there's like a bunch of quotes like by him, and one of them is, it is a frightening thought that man also has a shadow side to him, consisting not just of little weaknesses and foibles, but of a positively demonic a dynamism. So he explains that like the shadow is basically the source of all evil, and he goes on to say it can be ascertained on closer investigation that the unconscious man, that is his shadow, does not consist only of morally reprehensible tendencies, but also displays a number of good qualities such as normal instincts, appropriate reactions, realistic insights, creative impulses, etc. So it's very like the shadow can almost be looked at as like your unconscious and what your instincts and what your thinkings are behind all this. And then another quote of his, it is quite within the bounds of possibility for a man to recognize the relative evil of his nature, but is a rare and shattering experience for him to gaze into the face of absolute evil. Which reading all this makes me very like interested for how Buffy is, and her looking at her shadow and looking at her unconscious and things outside the realm of her introspectively looking at herself, and those instincts and those feelings and those things that like when you try to look at why you feel a certain way and why you have these instincts, it's of course very confusing, as I've already said. But in order to do that, you're able to overcome this shadow. So it's very interesting also that he goes on to explain how it's, again, kind of an insane task to try and understand your shadow and trying to understand this unconscious self. But in his words, he goes on to say, the negligence is the best means of making him, being the shadow, an instrument of evil. So he talks a lot about like society and like the evil tendencies that history has shown. And during this, I feel like he was, I forget when exactly, but we had the whole, the creation of the atomic bomb and the creation of all these different like weapons of war that why do we need all these things? And he goes on to say like by having all this and doing all this, it's like connecting to the shadow. And then he goes on to say, which I think is very interesting, on the contrary, they lead to projection of the unrecognized evil into the other. This strengthens the opponent's position in the most effective way because the projection carries the fear which we involuntarily and secretly feel for our own evil over to the other side and considerably increases the formidableness of his threat. So with this, obviously, you can think back on like a lot of history of people feeling a lot of fear and ultimately putting that onto another person and then starting a war or starting, some sort of war against those people. And I don't mean to like connect this. Obviously, this is a fictional show about a character that slays vampires, but I thought it was very interesting. So if you guys are interested, I'm just connecting the two. Obviously, what he's talking about is a lot more like talking about the sort of evilness that humankind can have on people and people of their own kind. But just that in itself, like, I feel like kind of is interesting for Buffy because she's very scared of this like evilness inside of her and this darkness that Dracula is talking about. So she puts it on other people like Glory, and she puts it on vampires and things that she ultimately can fight against. And of course, later on with Joyce getting sick and it's being something that she cannot physically fight, it's very hard for her to like come to terms with that and with Joyce's death. But because she's so used to putting this evil onto things that she can fight and that she can get over with ultimately after fighting someone and after succeeding. So yeah, so to like end this whole like little sub talk that I decided to go on, he further explains, it is this fear of the unconscious psyche which not only impedes self-knowledge but is also the gravest obstacle to a wider understanding and knowledge of psychology. Often the fear is so great that one dares not to admit it even to oneself. So again, I think it's just very interesting again, about the shadow and the unconscious self and how nuanced that is for self-knowledge. And for the book, there's a lot of there's a couple there's one essay, literally the only title, self-knowledge. That's the title of the entire essay. And it's very much a like eye-opening experience to understand that self-knowledge is very difficult to get. Like, understanding yourself is very difficult because you have to look at these parts of yourselves that you don't want to admit are there, like these evil thoughts or these things in yourself that aren't socially acceptable but are in you. You have to accept that in order, not accept it, but understand that they're there in order to fully understand yourself. And I don't feel, at least Carl Jung also comes to this conclusion, I feel like, in a lot of his essays. He feels like this isn't doable. He feels like self-knowledge is just not capable in, specifically in today's age, especially in today's age. When he wrote this was a couple decades ago. But especially in today's age, I feel like it's just not doable. And yeah, I don't know, just like imagine going into a season 5 wrap up and I'm in this conversation right now. I just fucking love the season. Like, it's just such an eye-opening, like, makes you think season. Mwah. Magnificent. I love it. So yeah, so like I already said, the episode 3, we get the, you know, the two halves with Xander, and you kind of forces Buffy to look at both of that. But yeah, so that's interesting. So for episode 5, I literally talk about like how Glory and Dawn are kind of connected in a sort of way where Glory is this all-powerful god and Dawn is a helpless human, and is made from Buffy and is thus a part of her that she needs to protect. And for episode 5, I feel like it's just so interesting. Just the creation of Dawn, again, I feel like it was just such an out there sort of idea, but it worked so perfectly because Dawn not only is a little sister, and obviously you're going to care after your little sister, but after Joyce ultimately, you know, goes through her CAT scan and she sees, you know, that she needs to stay home, she needs help. Buffy goes home, she starts, you know, help out at the home a little bit more with her family. And by doing that, it kind of anchors Buffy home, and it anchors her even more to a tangible physical thing. Like, it's not so much that she, you know, is connected to, you know, her boyfriend and stuff. She's connected physically by blood to this girl, Dawn, and she is having to protect her. And in episode 5, she finds out all about, you know, the key and all that. And yeah, I just feel like it's just so freaking good. But episode 6 does lead into something that I was previously talking about with like the shadow and everything. This is the Tara being a demon episode. So this episode shows Tara, who is someone that believed to have this evil already inside of her, and she's able to kind of break out of that, and of course she finds her found family. It's so fucking cute. But it's very interesting how Tara is able to go through this sort of like journey with herself where she already feels like she has this evil inside of her, and she finds out that she doesn't. So it's a very different sort of like opposite journey that Buffy has to go on, where Tara feels like she's a demon and she has been brought up and she thinks about this, and Buffy ultimately is in the other boat where she feels like she's doing good and all this, but she does have things inside of her that she doesn't understand, and things inside of her that are otherworldly. I mean, the Slayer, and having this sort of darkness inside of her where it's kind of driving her to fight vampires and all that. I don't know, just very, very interesting to have a sort of different angle on that. So yeah, so then episode 7, this of course starts with Buffy getting stabbed by a vampire, and it kind of, you know, bringing her down a leg, being like, okay, listen, you're not invincible. And by doing this, it kind of pushes her to look at how Slayers die. And of course, this leads to her asking about Spike and all this. And with this is just such a fucking good episode. I literally, if you're gonna ask me what my favorite episode of the season is, it's gonna be episode 7. It is going to be episode 7, okay? Possibly my favorite episode of the entire show, okay? I love this episode so much. But yeah, so with Spike in this, he has a lot of very interesting lines that he has for Buffy. He says, every Slayer has a death wish. You only lasted this long because of your ties to this world, being Dawn, Joyce, all our friends. And then what's very interesting, I just fucking love Spike so much. He goes on to, like, try and push Buffy to, like, fight him and punch him. And he's like, come on, Buffy, you know, we can tussle, let's do it. And I feel like death is also a very interesting idea or theme throughout the season, where I feel like it's mainly, like, brought up in this episode because obviously Buffy almost, you know, gets stabbed to death by a vampire, and it kind of forces her to look at her morality. And then with Spike, who has already lived through death and is dead, it's very interesting how they're connected in that way, where Buffy, in a way, is, you know, scared of dying. She doesn't want to die. But she's a Slayer. She's basically destined to die young. And she's already died. Back in season 1. I always forget that. But she did die. And she's still alive. So they both have gone through it, but have had very, very different outcomes. Yeah, I don't know. Just both of them connecting over... just so fucking good. It's literally so fucking good. Oh my god. I cannot get over it. Simply cannot. Even just, like, Spike's obsession. Sorry to go on a bike little rant right now, but Spike's, like, obsession with the Slayer. I mean, obviously we saw that in episode 7. He's, like, obsessed with killing the Slayer. And then we have that flashback of him and Drusilla, where she's basically like, dude, you're literally obsessed with her. Like, excuse me? You're in the relationship with me. Why are you so obsessed with her? And it kind of forces himself to, like, take a step back, like, wait a minute. Am I, like, obsessed with Buffy? Yes, I am. And yeah, I don't, just, like... oh my god, I literally cannot get over this Buffy, like, obsession turned love. I love it. Like, literally, it's what's keeping me going right now. It's so fucking good. Oh my god. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, so then, moving on past that, and there are, like, little things that, like, add to this whole, like, her trying to understand herself. Going to episode 18, we have the whole, you know, the Buffy bot episode, but it's also her going on that whole, like, excursion to, like, figure out, like, from the first Slayer, and asking her questions about, like, if she, you know, capable of love, and is she, you know, this also happens after, like, the whole Buffy Riley breakup. So she's like, am I capable of love? What's happening? Do I still have this darkness in me? Am I just not capable of anything? And she gets a lot of information. She's like, the first Slayer says, love is pain, and the Slayer forges strength from pain. So fucking cool. I just love these lines so much. And then says, love will bring you to your gift, and death is your gift. Ultimately, we know now that that is, you know, death is your gift. It's Buffy's gift towards Dawn. And love will bring you to this gift because she loves Dawn so much and she wants to sacrifice herself for Dawn. She knows that her death is now her gift. But yeah, so then going forward to episode 21, we have the whole Buffy basically being in a trance. She's very, you know, distraught after after Dawn gets taken. And she goes through the whole thing where she feels like she was the one that killed Dawn because she had this one moment where she felt like she just wanted out. She's like, okay, well, what if Dawn just dies and then we can just move on? And again, it's very much a, like, I talked about this in my review for that, very much like a self-fulfilling prophecy for herself, where she's able to come up with a reasoning for why it happened, and she feels like she made it happen because she thought about it, and then she's like, well, maybe because of that I didn't try as hard, and because of that it's my fault. And yeah, I don't know, just her like going through that again. It was just such a moving episode, I feel, because again, Buffy, we know, is such a badass character. She's so fucking cool. She is able to do all the right things, and she's able to, you know, save the world a bunch of times. But then she has this one moment where she feels like, hey, what if I just didn't do this, you know? And to get to that level where, like, you're literally in a trance with yourself and you don't know what to do, and it's just, like, I felt so bad. But it's also, like, so fitting for her character because, again, she went through all these insane life changes with discovering Dawn isn't even her sister, Joyce's death, Buffy breaking up with Riley, and all these things where they weren't her choice a lot of the times. And it's just kind of catching up with her, and she's just like, I just need a break, and, you know, adding it on that she's a Slayer, she needs to save the world, you know, it's just a lot. I feel so bad for Buffy. Oh, God. I cannot. Oh, my God. Anywho, that was quite the detour for that question. But back to the questions. Let's get into it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Alicia asked, over the course of your journey in watching Buffy, you've encountered a lot of comments saying season 5 is their favorite. Now, after seeing the full season in which 2 major characters die, lots of trauma is experienced, and we're all left distraught, do you think we're deranged? Thanks. Honestly, yeah. Like, I love this season, but it's just like, oh my God. Like, it's so sad. And just so, like, oh my God. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I feel like this was the most well done season, but for me enjoying it, I feel like I would say another season, if that makes sense. I feel really bad saying that because, like, I just had a full-fledged conversation about how this is related to Carl Jung, but just, it was like, I loved it. I loved what it was going for. I loved everything and the characters and their arcs in the season, but it's like, oh, fucking hell. That was a lot. Like, maybe it's also just me. I have a lot of things happening up here. So sometimes I like to have my shows be an outlet for something completely different. And then to see Buffy, this character that I fucking love and find so much joy in, to go through all these horrible things and to, like, go through, like, it's just very sad, you know? Like, but that's not to say, again, like, this season, absolutely fucking amazing. Just, would it be my favorite? No, I don't think so. Definitely, like, second favorite, I think. Okay, so fellow Bi asked, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on the forefront of queer representation. So far, how do you think it's doing? I feel like it's doing really freaking good. I mean, y'all told me that Willow and Tara were never gonna kiss on screen, and I believed you guys, and then we got an on-screen kiss, and I was so fucking happy. And I don't know, I just feel like they're just so perfect. But it's like, they're also not perfect. Like we saw in one of the last couple episodes, the episode where, like, Glory got to Tara and all that. I absolutely adore the fact that they are such an amazing couple, but they still have issues like a normal couple, you know? Like, I hate when there's, like, representation, but, like, the person is absolutely perfect, you know? It could go one of both ways. The person is literally so perfect, or they're problematic as fuck. And I just love how they did Willow and Tara's relationship just so much. Oh, this is an interesting question. S. Jaco asked, which episode of Buffy did you like as a concept, but felt the execution was lacking? Definitely just the first one that, like, popped in my head. the breakup episode for Riley and Buffy. Like, again, while I was watching the season, I felt like Buffy and Riley were gonna break up very soon. Then obviously him cheating on Buffy and all that happened. And I already talked about this like in the episode, but like I just really, really, really dislike the decision to have Buffy run after Riley, and then for the decision not even to be hers and Riley already being gone. And I just because in the episode Xander's having like this whole conversation with Buffy, like, why are you letting him go, da da da. And then he has this line, let me see, I wrote it down, I think. Okay, Xander says, if he's not the guy, if what he needs from you isn't there, let him go. And she goes after him. Like, I just wish she had a little bit more of, like, self-awareness to understand that she doesn't have what he needs, And that's okay. Like, why stay in a relationship where the other guy was literally led to go to vampires to get his kicks and didn't talk to you about problems in your relationship? Why? I also just fucking hate cheating in relationships. Like I've already said, past. So just, I don't know. Just like watching that scene literally makes me so upset because it's like, this isn't Buffy. This is Buffy, like, I don't know. It was also just really pissing me off because this was happening in the midst of, Joyce getting sick and Dawn being the key and all this. And then you wanted to add in all this shit, Riley? Like, fuck off. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I really dislike Riley. But yeah, so it's like, I would have liked, a breakup episode. I was expecting it. But then at the end, you have the main character make a decision, and then the decision doesn't even matter because it makes me upset. And it's like, I understand that sort of thing happens in real life, or like, you make a decision, but the decision doesn't even matter. I get it. But with Buffy, in that moment, where everything around her is already making a decision for her, I would have loved, I already said this in my video, just have the whole running, you can still have her running after Riley and all that. But then the last scene, you have Riley looking down, you don't see Buffy come out, and then you flash to Buffy not running anymore in the same position where she was running originally. And she just turns around, she walks home, she has the same exact thing. We just don't have her going up at, looking up at the helicopter like, Riley, come back. No, I don't want it. I hate it. Strongly dislike it. Sorry. And I know some people did say that they liked that decision. I'm just not one of those people. And then Nebraska asked, do you think that spreading out your Buffy viewings up to this point versus binge watching the series has impacted the degree to which you enjoy the series? Absolutely. I feel like I wouldn't have understood all of the different things happening in the show if I binge watched it. Because there are certain shows that I feel like need to be binge watched because there's so much happening. But with Buffy, I feel like it's just so perfect to just like slow it down and just like have a good time. And I just fucking love every week getting to like watch the episode. I get to go on Discord and I talk about it with all my patrons and seeing what they think and seeing different points of views. And also, I'm kind of an idiot, so like I like when you guys like help correct me and help, give me more information so that my opinion is a little better. So yeah, definitely has helped me enjoy it a lot more. This is an interesting question. Mikhail asked, there are many similarities brought up between this and season 2 finale. She kills Angel in season 2 and not Dawn in season 5. Which decision do you support more? Is her decision to save Dawn ethical? I mean, I don't know. I really like both finales, so it's not like I like one of the decisions more than the other, honestly. And I don't know, just like, I feel like for the whole Angel one, I feel like it was just very fitting, you know? And for Dawn, it was obviously very fitting because she had to make like a sacrifice for someone that she cared about. And I thought it was just very fitting for her character and for her whole character arc in the season to have that moment where she's able to kind of give back and like help Dawn, if that makes sense. I don't know. I just really liked it. But what would have happened if Dawn did die? If Dawn like sacrificed herself? Would someone else become the key? Where would the key go? Would the key not be here anymore? I don't know. That does sound like an interesting idea. But I feel like Buffy made the decision that I felt was right for her. So, I don't know. I just support her. So yeah, I got a bunch of comments for the next season, what I think is going to happen, what are like my insane theories, whatever. Antonella asked me what are my insane theories about what could happen in the future. And then Leslie asked like what different types of big baddies we could have. MK asked what I predict in season 6. And then Johnny asked me, will there be a new Slayer? I'm very curious if there will be a new Slayer. I feel like there has to be because Buffy died. Because last time Buffy died, she died for like 2 minutes and then a new one still came. So I feel like there has to be, but I don't know how they're going to implement it in without it being something new, you know? Because obviously it's like a been there, done that sort of thing with like, oh, it's a new Slayer. Awesome, cool. The other one's in jail right now, so what do you have to offer? So it's like, I'm curious how they're gonna make it new, or if they're even going to, you know? Because, I mean, past Slayers, they've been in fucking China, and, like, Africa, and, like, all these other places. So, I wonder if, like, we'll hear about it, but we won't see the new Slayer. I don't know. I'm curious about that. But, yeah. My most out there theory is that Spike changed Buffy, but I don't know how. So, obviously, I already know, you know, the whole thing. You know, you gotta drink blood, and you gotta be, like, almost near death, and then you gotta drink the vampire's blood. And it's, like, this whole ritual thing, and then you gotta be laid to rest, and you come back. Whole thing. Is there a possibility that Spike changed Buffy? Because I just have a feeling. Buffy's gonna be a vampire, okay? She has to be. She has to be. How is that gonna happen? I don't know, because she looks very dead at the end. So, don't know how that's gonna happen. But I have like a gut feeling. Not a gut feeling. That's like my most wild out there theory, Antonella. So, and also, so Leslie asked me about what I think could be the big baddie for, like, you know, season 6 or 7. Because, I mean, so far we've had, you know, a big baddie vampire, we've had a love interest, we've had the big mayor dude, we've had a government thing with, like, some cyborg dude, and then we've had a literal god. So I'm curious what the next big baddie's gonna be. Because it's like, again, not to bring up Supernatural again, but with that, a god was kind of like, there is nothing bigger than that, you know? So I'm curious what the next thing's going to be. Because, like, I mean, obviously, you gotta, like, higher the stakes a bit, you know? You can't just, like, keep going and then have, like, the next villain be a regular vampire or something. It has to be something to, like, up in the stakes. I'm curious if Buffy being a vampire, again, this is just me assuming that she's gonna be a vampire, but I have like a gut feeling that she is. Would it be like, what if the big baddie is the new Slayer. You see where I'm getting at this? I mean, the vampire that is a vampire slayer going against a human vampire slayer. I mean, that could be very interesting. Also, I'm just nervous about Willow. I have had a gut feeling for like 2 seasons now that something's gonna happen with her being a Wiccan and a witch, and I'm just very nervous. Especially after her going against a full-fledged god and literally, like, actually doing something against a god. Like, that's kind of insane. And then we had the whole Tara being, you know, what'd she say? She's, like, was nervous, or, like, her power makes her scared or something. I don't know. Just, there's been things I've been picking up on. I'm nervous that some spell's gonna go wrong or something. Or maybe, what if Buffy isn't a vampire? What if Willow tries to bring back Buffy? It works, but by doing so, something happens, and like some sort of demon or something like does something to Willow, you know? I don't know. There's a lot to happen right there. Okay, so I got the same question by Nicholas, Rob, Ron, and Steven. They all asked what were my opinions, feelings about Dawn over the course of the season and how it changed and all that. And a bunch of them also asked, was the key reveal something that changed how I viewed Dawn? Definitely changed how I viewed Dawn, but I feel like I did go through that whole, like, absolutely despising her because she was so annoying, but, like, kind of getting on the train of, like, being, you know, not hating her as much. But I do feel like the key reveal, because it helped me understand why she was there, I feel like the confusion was like the main driving factor for why I despised her so much, because I was like, why are you here? Who are you? So by getting all of that, I was like, oh, okay, now I understand, and now I can get on board for like protecting her and all that. So yeah, I definitely do really like Dawn now. I feel like just her character and her like journey throughout the season must have been fucking insane. Like, I can't even imagine going through what she went through and then having Buffy like sacrifice herself for her. Like, that would have been so insane. So yeah, so I do really love Dawn now, but again, the first couple episodes of the season I was like, okay, why are you here? And then Rami asks, which character arc are you most looking forward to see progress in season 6? I'm very curious, now that the key thing isn't as big of a factor, how Dawn is going to be in this show, you know? Because I was low-key expecting Dawn to, like, not make it to the end of the season. So I wasn't really expecting to see her in the next season. But now she's kind of here, so curious how that's gonna work out. Hopefully we get to see a lot more of Tara. I fucking love Tara. I would love to see if she was a season regular, but I don't think she's going to be because we already have such a big cast. But I fucking love Tara, so I'd love to see more of her. If she had, like, you know, a little tiny arc or something, I don't know. That'd be very cute. I don't know. And, of course, oh, wait. I would love to see a nice character arc for Spike. Come on. Come on. Come on. I would love to see it. I would love to see it. And especially with, like, Buffy. Obviously, I'm looking forward to Buffy's arc. If she does become a vampire. I feel like that'd be such a cool fucking arc for her. But, if that does happen, I'm curious how that would affect Spike, too. Just saying. I love him so much. Dan asks, how do you think Scooby's group dynamic will change following Buffy's death? So this is what I'm very, very intrigued on. I'm curious how long Buffy's going to be dead before she comes back. And again, how is she going to come back? I don't know. So if she's gone for like a long time, I feel like we could definitely see like the Scoobies kind of drifting apart. So it's either they're gonna drift apart or they're gonna come back together because they're going to have to, fight vampires and stuff again. Or they're going to drift apart because the new Slayer's in town and they're gonna take over the vampire slaying and they don't really have to do that anymore. That could be interesting too. No, I'm just nervous. I do feel like Giles. Wait. Dawn doesn't have a guardian anymore. What's gonna happen? Is Giles gonna adopt her? I would cry. I would literally cry if that happened. But that's an interesting thing to add in. Buffy is no longer Dawn's guardian. So, could Giles adopt her? I'm not sure. That could be interesting. Willow can adopt her. That'd be so cute. But yeah, that could be interesting. But yeah, the group dynamic I could see going honestly both ways. Them like coming back together or being drifting apart. I'm not sure. I'm nervous. I'm just so nervous to watch the first episode of season 6, honestly. Like, I have so many thoughts running through my head that I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what's gonna happen. And then both Caitlin and Anderil asked, besides Buffy, what reoccurring character changed the most this season, and do you like them more or less or any of the particular characters? So definitely Xander. Like, I don't know what the fuck that dude was on this season, but like, I enjoy his character so much more now, and I'm so happy because there are so many Xander fans that watch my videos, and I feel bad sometimes like not being into him as much, but this season has made me just love Xander so much more. But yeah, other than that, I feel like Willow has had such a huge change from season 1, like, being the girl that gets picked on for her clothes and for being, the studious little high schooler, and then she goes to college, gets into a relationship with a girl, and it's just like very different for her, but it's just very fitting. I love them so much. I love both of them so much. So I got this question a couple times from Matt, and yeah, so Mila asks opinions on Xander and Anya and where you see them going. I think they are actually at a really good point right now. I used to think they were like not good for each other, but after this season and like both of them just growing up a little bit, I feel like they are just so perfect. So yeah, I really like them together right now. And where I see them going, I mean, obviously they're getting married. Hello. I could totally see them getting married in like like Las Vegas or something, and then coming back and just telling all of them like in an offhand comment, oh yeah, we got married. And all of them are like, excuse me? And where were we? Veronica asks, will I ever consider calling them Spuffy and not Bike? Absolutely not. No. I will die on this hill. It's Bike. I'm gonna make so many enemies on YouTube. You don't even know. I'm gonna die on this hill, literally. Okay, and then I got a bunch of comments about Bike. Like, do I think it's a healthy relationship? How do you think they have progressed throughout season 5? What's my favorite Bike moment? And then Sal asked that I mentioned playing with the idea of Bike ship edits. What scenes in this season stick out to you as the best ones to take clips from, and do you plan on ever showing your edits if you finish them? So I have already posted one. I have not posted it on YouTube publicly because I haven't gotten to like the one episode yet. Because I posted it with, let me see, give me one sec. Okay, so it's up to episode 18 of season 5, so I don't want to post it until I have had like that reaction up. But, sheesh, I fucking love editing Buffy and Spike so much. Literally, episode 7 can fuck it up. Oh my god. Their scene in the alley. when he tries to kiss her. It literally makes me want to scream. Oh my god, it's so good. Literally, my heart rate is going up. I love them. And then the one scene where he's outside just like watching them when obviously this is like the episode where like he sees Riley go wherever, but I know it's stalker behavior, but let me like it, okay? Let me like it, okay? Listen, he's a hot vampire. I will accept it from him, okay? I know. Oh my god, and then the scene where he actually like confesses to Buffy. Oh my god! Literally so good. So fucking good. God. And then the scene where what was it? At the end of season 7, or at the end of episode 7, where he goes to her house and like sees Buffy crying and just sits next to her. Oh my god. I'm gonna like have a panic attack because I love him so much. And then the Buffy-Bot episode where she comes back at the end. Stop it! Stop it! Stop it. No, you're teasing me. You're teasing me. I love it so much. My god. Literally put me out of my misery. Oh. Anyways. Can you tell I fucking love Bike? Love them so much. And it's like, I don't know. I just love them so much. And it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just so fucking good. Like, I literally have seen episode 7 like 4 times now because I just love rewatching it. It's a good one. It's a good one. So then I got a bunch of ranking type questions. So, Synapson, I think, asked a very important question. What is your favorite outfit Buffy wears this season and your least favorite? So, where is it? Let me see. Give me one sec. She is wearing a lot of cute fucking outfits in this season. Let me just say. Oh, wait. Let me see. Wait, what is it? Is it in this episode? No. Literally, like, Buffy in this season, I don't know. Like, obviously, Buffy every season is fucking beautiful. But, like, her hair is, like, on point every episode. I just adore her. Like, she's just so fucking beautiful. I can't. I simply cannot. Okay. So, is it this episode? Episode 4, I think. She has this outfit. Okay, I fucking love her, like, white shirt, red pants, and then, like, her red jacket that she adds in later on. I don't know. Just, like, the simple white shirt, like the t-shirt. So cute. I literally got a shirt that kind of looks similar to that, but it's black and white because I can't wear white shirts. And I literally got it because I was like, what if I'm like Buffy? I'm not gonna look like her exactly, but I can try. I think it's also, there's this one clip of her like flipping around with her hair that's in the title sequence. So beautiful. So amazing. And I don't know if it's because I connect this outfit with such turmoil, but like the red shirt that she wears during the body episode, I just looks so like frumpy on her, you know? And I think that was like kind of a point, you know? She probably didn't, you know? I don't know, it just doesn't look right on her, you know? Okay, so CJ, Alan, and Henry all asked how would I rank the big bads as of now. Let's see. Number 1, I want to still say Angelus because I feel like that was just so well done, you know? Number 2, I would say Glory. Then I want to say the Master just because he's just so fucking like iconic. Yeah, I'm doing it. Then the Mayor, then Adam. Yeah, there it is. Okay, and then CJ, Cheyenne, James, and Alfie all asked what were my personal rankings for the season so far. So for the seasons, at the bottom, I would say season 4. I hate to do it to him. I just, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And then I would say season 1. And then I think, listen, okay, I don't know. I have to think about this now. Okay, I'm gonna say season 3 next. Then season 5, and then season 2 on top. I think. I don't know. I just really love season 2, season 3, and season 5. But I think I said previously that I would rate season 3 on top of season 2. And I think now I would rate season 2 as my favorite. I think. I don't know. Because it's like, again, season 4 has like my favorite episode, Hush. But as all, I just, that season was a lot. I don't know. I feel bad rating it like that, but yeah. And I already said, season 5, I fucking love. It was just like one of those seasons that I'm like, that was painful. That was painful. Oh my god. And it was just, I don't know, just, again, very, very, very personal opinion. Just, and I 1000% agree with the people that are saying that it's their favorite. Just for me, it was just a little too real at times. That, like, it was just a lot of emotional energy that I had to get through for the season, you know? But it was all so well done that I feel bad saying that. But yeah. And then I got a lot of questions from Joe, Lucy, Stargazer, and Ryan that are all asking about a possible connection between Glory and Ben. I think you guys are fucking on something. I don't know where you guys are seeing all that. Glory and Ben? No, I don't think anything's there. But, you know, you guys can tell me if you guys think there is something. Oh, goodness. So, yeah. Oh, sheesh. I have been talking for 2.5 hours, and I feel like I actually got most of the stuff that I wanted to say out. So, yeah, so for the season, again, what a fun fucking ride. What a interesting and emotional ride. Not very fun a lot of the time. But, yeah, it was fun to, like, watch it along with you guys and, like, talk about it with you guys. And this was very fun, getting to talk about the entire season. Sheesh. But anyways, the next video I will be posting is the Angel Season 2 wrap-up, which I'm very, very excited to talk about that. And yeah, sheesh, this was a lot. My throat is tired. Yeah, Season 6. Sheesh. I am, like, jumping out of my skin with excitement, but I'm also very nervous to watch season 6 because it's like I have all these ideas and they're gonna be ideas until I watch and I'm gonna see what actually happened. I'm just very nervous. I do believe that is all I have to say about season 5. Actually, it might not be everything I need to say about season 5, but I'm sure you guys will get more of that over the next, you know, however many viewings of the show. But for right now, I do believe that's all I have to say. And yeah, thank you to my beautiful patrons over on Patreon. I will see you guys next video. Bye!